Thanks for the countdown, Tyler. All right. For our last topic here, I want to talk about a show called Terrace House, which has had some success on this channel miraculously. It's very hit or miss, whatever, because we have our like recurring shows, which actually have all been doing pretty healthy for our size, and then we have the Roundabout Cast, which is like people watch it, but like there's some topics that people care about more than others, clearly. And Terrace House happens to land on the nicer side.
Yeah, I think your first Terrace House talk is still one of like our most watched things, right?
Not bad. Yeah. Though recently, me and Joe have been breaking records out here. With,
is this the show where they just talk?
This is the show where sometimes they just talk, sometimes they critically do not talk. And that is where all the drama comes from.
I think there's a Pro ZD skit about this where it's like, is this all they do is talk?
Yeah.
It's like, no.
Yeah, but he loves
Sometimes
the show.
they eat.
Oh, but when they eat, it's great. Okay, Terrace House is an amazing show. I'll give a quick synopsis in case no one's watched like the. I think I've done 2 little talks on them. It's a show that has currently 4 series. 1 in Tokyo, 2 in Tokyo. I haven't watched the first one because it's not on Netflix. But then it has Boys and Girls in the City. Then it has, which is in Tokyo. It has Aloha State, which is in Hawaii, which I think I've talked about in the past. How that's not my favorite season for reasons. Opening New Doors, which is a great season. That was the last season. And then currently we have Terrace House 2019-2020. So they got less creative with the names, but you know, it is what it is. So each show has a cast of 6 people at any given time, 3 boys, 3 girls. And you can leave whenever you want, and once you leave, you're replaced with another same gender person. So there's always a rotating cast of or a various changing cast of 6 people. And a big draw of the show is how quaint it is and how quiet it is. A lot of the time, it's just about watching people come to the house to experience new things or grow. There's people that go there to kind of promote themselves. Like there's a lot of models that go there, or like musicians, and they're getting that extra boost. But also while they're there, they grow either romantically or they find new goals to strive to. Joe, what are you smiling at over there?
Nothing. I saw something.
And yeah, it's really nice to see the character development within these human beings. Like bromances are actually the best part of the show, because like when the girls, like the stereotype of girls being catty towards each other, especially when boys are involved, is very much reinforced by Terrace House. I'm not saying it's true, but
I'm not saying it's true.
But evidence, according to Terrace House, states that the girls will kind of go at each other's throats for longer, while the boys are just like, "Hey, you like the same girl as me? Yeah, cool. Best of luck." And then they just like,
oh damn.
And then when they're both heartbroken, they just bro it out, and you get like the most wholesome romances. It's fantastic. But then there's people that go there like, in this series, there was a person named Ruka. Ruka was a little idiot fuckboy who like didn't know anything about how the world works. But it was really charming because everyone in the house kind of big brothered him, and he got like experience going on dates for the first time. He got experience like going out and getting a job as an adult. He got experiences working on his acting and his English and cooking. And like when he's leaving the show, he makes like this really nice meal for the rest of the house. And they're like, "Wow, you have improved so much since the beginning when you made these laughable meals, but like look how much you've grown in the couple of months that you've been here." So those are also really fulfilling storylines. This season has had the thing with Terrace House is that the fans are kind of terrible. And it's the kind of show where people expect people to act a certain way, first of all. So some people are like, "Oh, this season's boring because there's not enough either romance or drama, or everyone seems disingenuous," when that's a weird complaint to have, because you're watching a 40-minute cutout of a whole person's week with some producer like tampering of like, "We're gonna show these scenes in this context." Like there's relationships and romances that form off screen because the producers don't show it. So then you lose some context of why things turn out the way they are. And then there's friendship. Like there's people that leave. It's like, oh man, we were such close friends. And you're like, wait, were you? We never got to see enough of that. So you have to keep that in mind when you're watching a show like this. But people take it so seriously, and they're so harsh on the cast members, which leads to a lot of Twitter cyberbullying, which leads to the very heartbreaking news that I got like last night. It was weird because I woke up, I was kind of, I think I had like a slight food poisoning from the Pizza Hut that I got. And I get on Twitter and I see that one of the castmates had committed suicide because of all the cyberbullying she was getting. And it was kind of heartbreaking because Terrace House is a show that I watch with a friend, like, very regularly. We get together, we watch Terrace House and Good Place and stuff like that. But the Terrace House has been, like, our show. It's, like, such a key part of our relationship together. And it's kind of brutal because we're on this season. Like, this girl who committed suicide is currently a cast member. Now, there weren't episodes coming out. The way Terrace House works is, like, episodes come out weekly in Japan, but then they get compiled into seasons and come out in the US much later. So we're pretty behind the Japan stuff. So we haven't even gotten to the big dramas that she gets into that had people get really mean at her. And she gets so many deaths. She's also a female wrestler. She's gorgeous, by the way.
Oh,
or
man.
she was.
And
She's so cool. Granted, like, I would say she genuinely cringed me out with how, like, her approach to romance was very cringy, but I never took it personally because, like, one, I'm seeing only a slice of you, and two, you are actively growing. And I can see your growth, and it's really respectful, and it's really admirable. And she was in the ring. She's a badass. It's completely different from how she is or how she was in real life. So because we're so behind, we've reached this point where like it even happened today. I went over there to watch some episodes, and I just wasn't feeling it because you're watching the last months of this girl's life before she's cyberbullied, and it's really hard because she's talking about, like, she settled, like, her feelings with one of the boys that she was chasing, and they got off on, like, a really good end. It's like, hey, let's stay friends, let's grab dinner. He was leaving the show, let's grab dinner afterwards. And then, like, she's blooming romances with another guy, and it's just, like, knowing where this ends is really killing my vibe. And I'm considering not even watching the rest of the season now because it's actively in the back of my mind, and it's getting to me more than I thought it would. And that really sucks because my friend does want to watch the rest, and it's like if Joe just stopped reading One Piece one day, it's like, oh, there was this key part of our relationship that's gone, and I use, like, media to connect
Robin
with people. Yeah, like Robin dies and Joe just stops reading One Piece. I'm like, but Joe, Luffy became Pirate King this week. And he's
not to put down this woman's suicide, which is awful and terrible, but, like, that's just, I can understand that. That's a terrible thing to happen in the show, and it's weird too because, like, an example for, like, Heath Ledger or Anton Yelchin that died before, like, their last movies came out, Dark Knight and so forth. At least they are playing a character, and you don't really see into their life and how they were.
Yeah,
this is an entire different scenario where you will, even though you're getting a small sliver of that person's life, you are still seeing who this person is.
And like, the worst part is seeing all the hopes. Like, she was like 22, so it's brutal, dude. And I don't know. I think I'm gonna have to, like, I don't think I can watch it anymore, and that's gonna be a really sad part of a routine I've had for a long time now. So it's a real big bummer.
So just for this season of Terrace House, or do you think all of Terrace House in general, or do you think you're just gonna wait till the next?
It's true. So this season is not ending, I think. They're suspending the episodes that they had because of this and COVID. They might not release them. Some people are saying there might not be Terrace House after this because, like, something needs to be done because So Terrace House also has like a couch cast, which is a really integral and fun part of the show, where you have like these Japanese comedians and actors who watch the show, and then you get to see their opinions on it, and you get to see all their Japanese humor and like cultural differences of like, you see this guy like twist a girl's neck to get a kiss, and they're like, oh wow, he was so assertive, and me and my friend were like, oh, he was being so creepy. he was like kiss me, like cracking her neck, and I'm like, oh, that I didn't like that at all. But they're like, oh wow, he really stepped up and he was really assertive. I was like, well, Japan is a wild place. But like, the cast members can be hard on people, and apparently trolls like band around that. So I don't know if they can ever be the same, and if they can do anything to protect the people. Like, she is by far not the only person to have been harassed on this show. And if it keeps going, she probably won't be the last. And just shitty fans. I don't know if there's a new season. I might watch it. Get back in the routine with a friend, but seeing this, I can't possibly watch.
That's really sad because you missed it a long time ago, and it's always been in the back of my mind for something to watch. But it's in a different language, so I can't put it on the side and watch it and do something else like I do with a lot of like shows I've been watching. So I would have to sit down and watch it, which keeps me from watching it.
I still highly recommend. Like, this show is really good. It's very unique as far as reality shows is, and I still recommend it. For the 2020 season, I recommend watching. There's a manga artist called Pepe. He is an Italian who moved to Japan to draw manga, and in his time in Terrace House, he starts his first serial publication in actually a pretty big magazine. Oh. And you get to see his hard work turn into reality, and you get this scene where he goes to a store to buy his manga for the first time, and it's like, it is the best scene in anything. It is so heartwarming. Watch up until that moment, and then maybe stop there, because you won't get any happy endings from that point on. It's a show I really like, and it's really tainted now, and I just had to vent about it, especially because like I have talked about it before here, and it's a really good show, but I just don't know anymore. I think people should be nice to each other.
It's one of those things where like separating art from reality and the artist, but like at the same time, that's really hard for this medium, because the whole point of it is to get a look into real life and the reality of people. That's like the appeal of reality TV shows. So I don't know if you can really do that anymore, because you're not seeing a character on the screen. You are seeing an actual person. And that's extremely.
It's not even quite. You're seeing an actual person framed through the producer's lens. So
right.
You have to look at shows like this in a very specific light, and not even in. Don't be mad that people are acting the way they are. Like that's who they are, and they'll sort it out within the house. But you shouldn't go out and criticize people. Like, there's a character in the first season on Netflix who criticizes a girl for not having clear dreams. He doesn't talk for the rest of the show because he got blasted on Twitter so much. He's barely gets any screen time before he leaves. So it's like from the beginning, the Twitter cancer for this show has been apparent, and it's gone too far. And that's a bummer way to end this episode. But watch other seasons of Terrace House at the very least.
But at least an update from Willer on his opinion of the show.
Yeah, this opinion is now very complicated and complex.
And it's really sad that the show is ruined, not from like the show becoming bad, but because of the action people have given the show. It's kind of like with Star Wars, where like people gave such a harsh reaction to The Last Jedi that it becomes almost like embarrassing to say you like Star Wars now.
Yeah. It's rough.
It is. Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I think that we'll end the podcast there. Because maybe I don't know if this should have gone earlier in the show, and then we talk about Monster Prom after, and then I end up happy, or if that would have been too much of a tonal whiplash. But that's the Roundabout Cast. Take care of yourselves, folks. Reach out for help if you're
talk to your friends and family. Talk to them. love them, cherish them. Don't have any.
Send us messages.
Don't-
We
don't hold negative
reply to
thought.
all the stuff. We'll
Yeah.
talk to you
Once
about whatever you want. Alrighty.
Yeah.
Until next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
When are we going to talk about Ask a Ninja on Roundabout Cast?
Am I right?
I don't know.
Ask a
Am I
Ninja
right,
rewatch.